From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Good day. This is Dateline Malacañang. Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Tuesday held a bilateral meeting with Cambodian Prime Minister Samdech Moha Borvar Thipade Hun Manet at Malacañang Palace. The two leaders discussed advancing cooperation in combating transnational crimes, defense, trade, tourism, regional and multilateral cooperation. To date, there are over 7,000 Filipinos currently residing and working in Cambodia. Let us listen to the statement of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Your Excellency, Prime Minister Han Manet, the Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Cambodia, the members of the Philippine and Cambodian delegations, I extend a warm welcome to Prime Minister Han Manet and the delegation on this occasion of your official visit to the Philippines. I note that this is your first official visit to the Philippines in your capacity as Prime Minister, and I'm happy to build on our previous discussions following our bilateral meetings in Jakarta in 2023 and in Melbourne last year. In 2 years' time, our countries will mark the 70th anniversary of the establishment of formal diplomatic ties. Over that period, our ties have deepened and widened, covering several sectors such as trade, rural health development, investment protection, tourism, air connectivity, combating transnational crimes, and defense, amongst others. The mutual trust and constructive engagement between our two countries are also anchored on our commitment to ASEAN and its centrality in managing regional issues and concerns. Through ASEAN, both the Philippines and Cambodia have cooperated on various aspects of regional integration and development, fully supportive of ASEAN's strategic role in our region. Today, I hope to discuss the ways in which we can maximize our existing cooperation on diverse fields of mutual interest and explore new ways to collaborate while leveraging our growing economies, the dynamism of our people, and our unyielding commitment to regional peace and stability. I am particularly elated that our respective business leaders have engaged with each other in recent business forums, both here in the Philippines and in Cambodia, to forge new pathways in spurring commercial ties between our two countries for the benefit of us both. Allow me to reiterate our enthusiasm to welcome more Cambodians to the Philippines as tourists, as investors, as business partners, and as trusted neighbors and friends. Finally, let me take this opportunity to once again express my gratitude to His Majesty King Norodom Sihamoni for the grant of royal pardon to 13 Filipino surrogates, and to your government for the assistance given to them during their time in Cambodia. We will never forget this act of magnanimity from His Majesty, a testament to the strong relations between our two countries. Rest assured, we will continue to stand with you in the fight against transnational crimes and their adverse effects on our peoples and on our communities.
You just heard Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has appointed Luis Pangulayan and Douglas Michael Malilin as new commissioners of the Civil Service Commission or CSC and Commission on Audit or COA respectively. The Presidential Communications Office, or PCO, announced the new ad interim appointments in a social media post Monday. Pangulayan will replace Commissioner Eileen Lizada, whose term expired on February 2nd. The new CSC Commissioner served as Undersecretary of the Department of Agrarian Reform, or DAR's Planning and Research Office, and Director of the Career Executive Service Board. His term as CSC Commissioner will expire on February 2nd, 2032. Meanwhile, Malilian served as Director of the COA under the Office of the Chairperson.
Dateline Malacañang.
Former President Ferdinand E. Marcos Sr. and House Speaker Ferdinand Martin Romualdez were among this year's recipients of the Upsilon Sigma Phi's Upsilonian Noble and Outstanding, or UNO Awards. According to a news release on Monday, President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. accepted the award on behalf of his late father during the ceremony on February 8th held at the Goldenberg Mansion in Malacañang Complex. The award highlighted the late leader's enduring influence on Philippine governance, economic policy, and national identity. President Marcos Jr. was accompanied by his mother, former First Lady Imelda Marcos, and sister Irene Marcos Araneta. In his speech, the president encouraged Upsilonians to contribute to the betterment of the country. The UNO Awards honor Upsilon Sigma Phi alumni who exemplify the fraternity's values of brotherhood, integrity, excellence, leadership, and service. A 1937 inductee of Upsilon Sigma Phi, Marcos Sr. was recognized for his early achievements as a cum laude graduate of the UP College of Law and as the top-notcher of the 1939 bar examinations. The citation highlighted his tenure as the country's 10th president, recognizing him for infrastructure development, economic modernization, and diplomatic expansion. Romualdez, meanwhile, also received the prestigious recognition and expressed gratitude for being honored alongside the late president. As Speaker of the House of Representatives, Romualdez was commended for his legislative leadership, guiding the 19th Congress to unprecedented productivity. According to the award citation, under his stewardship, the 19th Congress filed more than 13,454 measures, passed 1,368 bills, and enacted 166 into law. The citation noted his leadership in passing key laws, including Republic Act 10754, which expanded benefits for persons with disabilities, and his contributions to corporate governance and finance. Other UNO awardees include Justice Secretary Jesus Crispin Remulla, Romeo Carlos, Ernesto de Castro, and posthumous recipient George Gonzalez. Founded in 1918, Upsilon Sigma Phi is the oldest Greek letter fraternity in Asia and the longest-standing student organization at the University of the Philippines.
Dateline Malacañang.
And news from the Philippine Senate. Senate President Francis Escudero on Monday announced that the impeachment trial against Vice President Sara Duterte will start after the third State of the Nation Address, or SONA, of President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. in July. In a press briefing, Escudero said the impeachment court will convene on June 2nd, denying allegations that the Senate has been delaying the impeachment complaint. He said senators cannot proceed with the trials during their break as the impeachment court should be convened during their sessions. The Senate Secretariat received documents of Duterte's impeachment from the House of Representatives signed by its more than 200 members on February 5th, Congress's last day of session before the midterm elections on May 12th. The senator asked his colleagues to study the articles of impeachment case since copies were distributed to them last week. He said a copy of the 44-page complaint is already posted on the Senate's website. Escudero also clarified that the Senate has no plans to call for a special session as suggested by some sectors, saying the one who filed must request the president for this. The Senate President said the 1987 Constitution is specific as to when Congress can hold special sessions, when there is urgent legislation that needs to be tackled, when Congress must vote for a new vice president in case the latter is removed or is incapacitated. If the president becomes incapacitated by a majority vote of the cabinet, to canvass and proclaim the president and vice president in an election, and when martial law is declared and the writ of habeas corpus is suspended. He cited the impeachment process of former Ombudsman Merceditas Gutierrez, wherein the House submitted the impeachment complaint 3 days before they adjourned or on March 22, 2011. The trial was scheduled over a month after the impeachment was filed. He also noted former Supreme Court Chief Justice Renato Corona's case, wherein the impeachment complaint was filed a week before the Senate's recess on December 12, 2011.
Dateline Malacañang.
Senator Sherwin Gatchalian on Monday called for strong protection for overseas Filipino workers or OFWs as the Department of Migrant Workers or DMW engages in talks with other countries on potential job placements. In a statement, Gatchalian said, "The welfare, security, and well-being of all migrant workers should be strictly monitored by the DMW to prevent abuse, neglect, and unfair labor practices." While acknowledging the opportunities provided by overseas employment, the senator stressed the need for inclusive and sustained economic growth in the Philippines to reduce reliance on jobs abroad. The DMW has been in discussions with multiple countries to explore new job opportunities for OFWs, aiming to expand legal and secure pathways for migrant workers. However, concerns over exploitative conditions and cases of abuse in some host countries continue to drive calls from lawmakers to stronger safeguards and government oversight.
Dateline Malacañang.
In other news, the Royal Canadian Navy, or RCN, will participate in the next Multilateral Maritime Cooperative Activity, or MMCA, in the West Philippine Sea. Canadian Ambassador to the Philippines, David Hartman, made the announcement during a reception after the HMCS Ottawa made a port call in Manila on February 7th. The same vessel, he said, will join the 7th Philippine-led MCCA within the country's exclusive economic zone as it departs Manila this week. The last MMCA was held on February 5th involving naval and air force units from Australia, Japan, the Philippines, and the United States. Hartman reiterated that Canada is committed to upholding the rules-based international order and conveyed anew its opposition to provocative Chinese activities in the area. The Canadian Embassy said HMCS Ottawa's visit to Manila, its first for the year, is part of Canada's show of commitment to the region under its Indo-Pacific strategy. During the visit, its crew conducted professional development and training opportunities with the Philippine Navy, community outreach, and friendly games of basketball and ice hockey. HMCS Ottawa's deployment is part of Operation Horizon, Canada's forward presence to promote peace and stability in some of the world's busiest and most vital waterways. The vessel, together with an embarked air detachment operating a CH-148 Cyclone maritime helicopter, has around 240 highly trained and professional sailors, soldiers, and aviators, including 15 of Philippine descent. The HMCS Ottawa, one of the RCN's 12 Halifax-class frigates, is equipped with extensive anti-submarine and anti-surface warfare weapons and sensors to complement their substantial anti-air warfare defenses. Its last port call in the country was in Subic Bay in 2023 when it participated in the exercise Sama-Sama with the Philippines and the United States.
Dateline Malacañang.
And finally, the Philippines Office of Civil Defense or OCD has alerted residents in the provinces of Palawan and Basilan where parts of China's Long March 8A rocket are expected to land. The Chinese rocket is scheduled to take off from the Wenchang spacecraft launch site in Hainan. This launch, originally set for January 25th, has been rescheduled for Tuesday with a launch window between 9:22 and 10:16 in the morning. In a statement, the OCD identified 3 drop zones where debris from the rocket are seen to land. Drop Zone 1, approximate distance 85 nautical miles from Rosul Reef. Drop Zone 2, approximate distance 40 nautical miles from Puerto Princesa, Palawan. Drop Zone 3, approximate distance 33 nautical miles from Haji Muhammad Basilan. In Memorandum Order 35, Cesar Idio, officer in charge of the OCD Deputy Administrator for Operations, urged the Philippine Coast Guard, Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, Department of the Interior and Local Government, and the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, National Mapping and Resource Information Authority to implement temporary restrictions and issue notices to mariners, coastal, navigational warnings, or Navarea 11 warnings in the identified drop zones. The Regional Disaster Risk Reduction Management Councils in Mimaropa and the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao or BARM are closely monitoring the situation. Meanwhile, the Philippine Space Agency cautioned the public against approaching or attempting to retrieve any debris which may contain toxic substances. If contact with debris is unavoidable, the use of personal protective equipment is advised. Residents and mariners are encouraged to report any suspected debris sightings to local authorities.
Dateline Malacañang.
Before we conclude our program, Radyo Pilipinas World Service of the Presidential Broadcast Service is heard over the following shortwave frequencies: 9.475 MHz, 15.640 MHz, and 17.820 MHz. You can also visit our Facebook page and YouTube channel at Radyo Pilipinas World Service. You will be able to hear and view our Filipino and English programs, including news updates here in the Philippines. Kindly subscribe, like, and share our posts as well. And that concludes this edition of Dateline Malacañang. For Radyo Pilipinas World Service, this is Leo Magpayo. Good day and stay safe.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.